Good afternoon. I'm here with Dean Vakas, candidate for the Olathe City Council at-large position. On behalf of the Olathe Chamber, thank you so much for being with me today. Dean, let's get started. You want to tell me a little bit about yourself and why you're running for this position?
Sure. Thanks very much, Natalie, for having me today, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and all of the members of the Chamber of Commerce. Well, I'm Dean Vakas. I'm running for the City Council at-large position. My wife, Julie, and I are born and raised in Kansas, but I was actually in the Army for 30 years. We lived around the world for 3 decades. My final assignment was Fort Leavenworth, where I was the Director of Academic Operations for the Command General Staff College. I retired in 2006. We moved to Olathe. We threw away the moving boxes. This is our home. We've been here for 15 years and we love it here. We came to Olathe to put down roots. We'd never had that opportunity in the Army. We moved every 2 years, so you never had a chance to really get involved in your local community. But we came here to be involved in the local community and really fully participate in accordance with the best democratic traditions. I'm running for city council fundamentally as a continuation of a life of public service. 30 years in the Army was all about public service. And since that time, for the past 15 years here in Olathe, I've done a variety of things to advance my commitment to public service, specifically with the city of Olathe. Having been on the library board, currently chairing the Plan Commission, having done that for 5 years, having served as president of the Olathe Citizens Association for Quality Streets, having served on the Citizens Advisory Committee for Olathe 2040, Olathe's new strategic plan, were all great experiences for me. Stepping forward now to run for city council is the capstone opportunity. I've primarily been in higher education since I left the military, most recently for K-State at the College Boulevard Olathe campus as the chief operating officer. I retired from there a year ago, so I now have the time to actually run for office. I never felt that I could manage a full-time job and being a candidate and being an engaged city council member at the same time. So retiring from K-State triggers the opportunity for me to run. I'm running purely to be a servant leader, purely to represent all of Olathe. This is an at-large race, so I represent all of Olathe, and to represent all Olathians to ensure that every voice is heard and counted as we continue to make good decisions about how Olathe is run and how Olathe will continue to grow. I'm really running purely as a commitment to good government. I want government to be as good as it possibly can be. I think I have a lot to offer based on my educational background, my life experiences, and my established record of both leadership and high-level technical management capabilities. I've got a master's degree in business. I've got a master's degree in public administration. So I know the business of local government, and I know how it's supposed to work for the good of the residents. So that's why I'm running. Long answer, I guess, but.
No, that's great. And thank you for your service to our country. On behalf of the Chamber, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
And you've touched on a little bit, but you want to talk about your top 3 priorities?
My campaign, we've identified a total of 6 priorities, but, specifically, I think there are 3 that really balance well. One is a clear understanding that we will continue to grow. So how we manage the growth of Olathe is very important. This is the fastest growing city in Olathe. It's grown by 2,000 people every year for the past 20 years. It's going to continue on that trajectory. And growth is just part of our life. So how we manage the growth to ensure that we complement the existing fabric of Olathe, but continue to build out Olathe, both in terms of new residential developments of all kinds, both in terms of new commercial and new industrial development is very important. And that takes a lot of experience, a lot of thoughtful thinking. We have to be able to do that thoughtfully in accordance with a balanced budget. And so how we continue to operate our budget in a way that supports the growth, but also ensures that we have the best city services for all residents is very important. In Olathe, we have great city services. The staff has done a great job. We're consistently ranked the highest in the KC Metro. In fact, amongst the highest across the United States, but specifically here in the KC Metro, there's no doubt that Olathe always sets the standard for quality services. So how we continue to grow, how we balance the budget with the new growth, but still maintain the quality services across the spectrum of services that the city offers as a full service city is very important. That's challenging. Specific to the budget, next year the budget's over $450 million. It is a big business. And so it is very complex. And how we manage that big business with the services, with the growth, those would be my three overarching priorities.
Well, that's a great segue into my next question, which is what are your views on the value that the Olathe citizens receive for their local tax dollars? And if you were to make budget changes, what might they look like?
Well, I believe we receive great value for the dollars we pay. I mean, I have the best tasting water in Kansas. There's no question about that. I have a great curbside services for trash, great curbside recycling program, wonderful library system, the best police department and fire department that you could dream for, quite frankly. I mean, it's fantastic. But you have to acknowledge that we sure as heck pay a lot of money in taxes, not just for Olathe, but for the county and for the school district and for the community college and for the state. I mean, we pay a lot of taxes. If you own a home, obviously you're paying property taxes, but there are sales taxes and an assortment of other fees that we all pay. And so, I think it's extremely important that while I know I receive great value for the dollars that I pay in taxes, I'm not in any way complacent. I don't take, and I think it's very important for me as a city council member to not take the level of income that we receive from the folks that live here for granted. We have to work extra hard to ensure that everyone gets the full value for every tax dollar that's collected. And we have to look for ways to be innovative. We have to look for ways, quite frankly, to find more cost efficiencies. We have to continue to look at our organization, not just the city, but the county and all organizations that take our tax dollars. We have to continually look inward for ways that we can streamline our operations without in any way causing a negative consequence to the quality of services.
Well, Dean, that's great. And you've touched on this a bit about Olathe being the fastest growing community in our area in Kansas. How would you help continue that high quality of growth in Olathe, and what role, if any, do you believe the city has in that growth pattern?
Well, the city has the central role, I think. The city council certainly is key and essential to that. Now, look, when we say the city, that is tied to the Chamber of Commerce. The Olathe Chamber of Commerce is the economic development arm for the city of Olathe. And so the partnership that we have with the chamber is exceptional, and it's important that we really push that relationship in a dynamic way in support of growth of Olathe. Olathe grows for a variety of reasons. It just doesn't happen. It happens because we have a great city, we have a great school district, we have a great quality of life, we have a great chamber of commerce, we have great city services. I mean, we just are doing a lot of things extremely well. And it's extremely important then that Olathe elected government represents the team that's involved in creating a great place to live. And then we support that team as the city continues to grow. I take that a step further. The city and the chamber work very hard to support existing businesses, to ensure they're successful, and to enable them to grow. And we also have to work very hard to bring in new businesses, because when we bring in new businesses, that creates jobs, that creates new opportunity for wealth for everybody that lives in Olathe. That's the way we grow the city. So the city council has to be out there in a productive way, meeting with potential new businesses as an ambassador of the city to make sure that people understand the value equation of moving to Olathe. I think that's extremely important, and that the Olathe City Council be the leader when it comes to economic development.
Great. So what do you think the three greatest challenges or opportunities that face the city in the next 10 years? And how would you want to capitalize on those?
Well, we talked earlier about, the growth within the context of a budget, within the context of city services. Those are always top of mind. We need to consider who we are today, and we really do need to consider who we want to be. And so the Olathe 2040 strategic plan, I think it's called Olathe 2040, Future Ready. That really is a high quality strategic plan. That is I would call it a visionary document, and that's created by the city staff, by the city council, by the chamber's input, by the input of all residents and businesses. So it's a team effort that put that plan together. I think we have to look at that plan. We need to live the plan. We need to take it to heart. And so we say we're going to be a welcoming city for everyone. We say that we're going to provide accessible, attainable housing for everyone. We need to be doing the things that allows that to happen. And so, for example, we do have a shortage of affordable housing. We should be trying to make progress in trying to right that ship. We talk about quality of life in terms of green space. We've got a great park system. We've got some wonderful things going on at Lake Olathe and Cedar Lake. But, we need more work on our trail system. We need more work on smaller pocket parks around the town. And so those are areas, too, where we need to put additional thought and effort in how do we make Olathe a better place yet. So I think those are all things as far as priorities go at this stage. Now, I'd mention one more, and I want to talk about public safety. I think public safety is job one, and we're very fortunate. We have a great police department with the police chief who's the best of the best. We have a great fire department, and when I say that, that's both fire and EMS. Every firefighter is either an EMS or EMT certified. We have a great fire department, and the fire chief there is the best of the best. We need to ensure that we always invest in our public safety forces so that they're always fully funded, so they have the best facilities in the right locations in terms of the police, in terms of the fire station, so that we add new fire stations as appropriate as the city continues to grow, because response time is very important. And we also need to make sure that the money is there to allow for the continual training and education certification of our public safety forces so they remain the best in the Kansas City Metro.
All right, final question, Dean. What do you think most distinguishes you from the other opponents in this race that makes you most suited to serve?
What I offer to you is my history. And I don't want to suggest that I'm an old timer. I'm not really. But, I have a 45-year history, a demonstrated, verifiable history of public service. My military career, 30 years in the Army, worldwide service, combat operations in the Middle East and in Southern Europe and Kosovo, multiple tours to Washington, D.C. All of those things have added up to a lot of quality experience. And in the Army, although I was initially commissioned as an infantry officer and spent 4 years as an infantry officer, I became an Army logistician and a financial manager, a comptroller for DOD. So I have, as a matter of routine for that 30 years, led large organizations of several thousand people, managed and responsible for budgets that had hundreds of millions of dollars, and oversight for responsibility of budgets that were billion-dollar budgets. That's not to be trifled. I don't think. I don't want to oversell it, but it's very valuable. And since I left the service for the past 15 years, the vice president of a consulting engineer company here locally, 8 years in higher education. All of that is corporate managerial experience. It is great leadership experience. And you couple with that, again, my educational background, a master's actually from Syracuse University in business and a master's in public administration from KU. And that's the best program in the country for local municipal government. I offer a lot. I bring it to the table. And I bring it to the table with energy, with commitment, with vitality, with mature, seasoned leadership. I am a collaborator. I am, I think, diplomatic. I dress up pretty well, quite frankly, I think, when my wife dresses me. And the intent is to represent Olathe, the true Olathe, which is a wonderful place with wonderful people. And again, my only motivation is public service. I'm not running to launch a political career. I'm running to be a representative for all Olathe, a stand-up guy who will take a public position when you need to, who is transparent, who's responsible and responsive and accessible, I think that does distinguish me from all of the competition.
Well, Dean, thank you so much on behalf of the Olathe Chamber for participating today in this interview with me. I look forward to this race and watching all of you and wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, Natalie. I really appreciate it. And thanks to everybody for taking the time to watch the video. You can always contact me if you want to, and it's Vakas for Olathe.com, VAKASFOR Olathe.com. Thank you and take care.